For almost 90 years now, Marvel has provided us with some of the greatest and most influential fictional characters and stories ever made. Spider-Man, the X-Men, the Avengers, the list is almost endless, and pretty much all of these characters have made a huge impact on pop culture within the world of comics where they originated, as well as in other mediums such as film and animation. Over the years, we've had a load of adaptations of the Marvel Universe, whether that be the various films in the enormously successful Marvel Cinematic Universe, or the multitude of animated shows that have debuted on TV. And while it can be debated which of these animated incarnations of Marvel's creations are the best adaptation of their respective world and characters, for my money, the best animated adaptation of the Marvel Universe overall is Disney XD's Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. While other shows such as The Spectacular Spider-Man or X-Men and Spider-Man the Animated Series do an incredible job adapting their corner of the Marvel Universe with great cameos and appearances by other Marvel superheroes, Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes was just such a massive love letter to the Marvel Universe as a whole, faithfully adapting some of the best Marvel stories while adding its own unique twists and surprises to keep it fresh for those who had kept up with the 50 plus years of Avengers comics that had been made up to that point. I honestly can't understate how much I loved this show, and I'm still annoyed at the executives that came to the mind-numbingly stupid decision to cancel it after only 2 seasons in favour of the vastly inferior series, Avengers Assemble, a show that favoured bland stories with very little depth and animation that looked like it had been animated over a weekend, over the slick animation and incredibly well-written stories of Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, in an attempt to have some synergy with the MCU, which was rapidly growing in popularity at the time due to the release of 2012's The Avengers. Please, Disney, listen to the petitions and give us Earth's Mightiest Heroes Season 3. Maybe put that what-if money towards a series that people will actually watch that doesn't feature a duck and a human having a child together. Yeah, that's something that actually happened. Still, despite being cancelled after only 2 seasons, Earth's Mightiest Heroes managed to cover a large amount of the iconic stories and characters from the Marvel comics. In my opinion, this show still has the best version of the Secret Invasion storyline from the comics, which I won't spoil for anyone who hasn't seen the show, as well as doing a great job with some of Marvel's greatest heroes and villains, such as Kang the Conqueror and Doctor Doom. Just in general, the show did a fantastic job with almost every character it handled. Of course, being set in the Marvel Universe, there was naturally an opportunity for a boatload of cameos and guest appearances from various Marvel characters, such as the Fantastic Four, the Guardians of the Galaxy, some members of the X-Men, and, inevitably, Marvel's most famous and iconic superhero, the Amazing Spider-Man. Spider-Man had various appearances in the series across a few story arcs, and to those of us who watched the series, we'd remember that Spider-Man was voiced by Drake Bell. While I've never been the biggest fan of Bell's performance as Spider-Man in other appearances, he did a sufficient enough job to make me buy him as the character in Earth's Mightiest Heroes. But what if I told you that there was a performance recorded for the show by another beloved voice actor who has portrayed Spider-Man in the past that was almost guaranteed to have been an improvement over what was already a great appearance by the character in the show? A performance by none other than the spectacular Spider-Man himself, Josh Keaton. Spider-Man's first appearance in the show was a fantastic story with Captain America, and with a new Spider-Man show just finishing its run on Disney+, as well as a new Captain America movie in cinemas right now, I thought there would be no better time to take a look at an interesting case of some lost audio from one of Marvel's best animated TV shows. So join me today as we go over the story of Josh Keaton's lost performance as Spider-Man from Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. So to start with, it might be good to provide some context as to Spider-Man's overall involvement in this show. Despite being far and away Marvel's most popular superhero, Spider-Man actually only made an appearance in 4 episodes of this show. These were Episode 39, titled Along Came a Spider, Episode 44, titled Yellow Jacket, Episode 45, titled New Avengers, and Episode 52, which was the series finale, titled Avengers Assemble. Spoiler alert for the show, so if you've never seen it, please go ahead and watch it before watching this, but the episode where Spider-Man first appeared, Along Came a Spider, follows Captain America, whose reputation with the public has been destroyed due to being replaced by a Skrull imposter posing as the hero earlier in the show during the Secret Invasion story arc. As another superhero who is no stranger to having his name tarnished by the public, courtesy of a hate campaign by J. Jonah Jameson, Spider-Man helps Captain America transport King Cobra and Viper as part of a prison convoy. When they are attacked by the other members of the Serpent Society, Spider-Man and Captain America must work together to stop the criminals, save the civilians impacted by the attack, and ultimately restore the public's faith in Captain America. As expected, with this being Spider-Man's first appearance in the series, there was a lot of excitement surrounding his debut leading up to the episode's release. Amidst the excitement, a rumour emerged that voice actor Josh Keaton, the voice behind Spider-Man in the acclaimed animated series The Spectacular Spider-Man, would return to voice the character for his appearance on Earth's Mightiest Heroes. This would have marked the first time since the end of The Spectacular Spider-Man in 2009 that Josh Keaton would have returned to voice Spider-Man in animation, and would have been a welcome addition to an already hyped up episode of this beloved show. Due to the time zone differences and the fun caused by those, the episode where Spider-Man first appeared aired in Australia on June 2nd, 2012, before airing in America on July 22nd, 2012. And while fans were excited to hear Keaton's voice as Spider-Man, those hopes were very quickly dashed when Australian viewers reported that they didn't hear his voice, but instead heard the voice of Drake Bell, who voiced the character for Disney's Ultimate Spider-Man series, which debuted 2 months prior to the airing of this episode. And for those of you who were around the Marvel fandom at the time, you'll know that this series did not sit well at all with fans, as it was the Spider-Man series that followed the Spectacular Spider-Man, but unlike that show, which was a very faithful adaptation to the Spider-Man comic books, Ultimate Spider-Man had pretty much nothing to do with the Ultimate Spider-Man comics, instead choosing to turn the character into some sort of pseudo-Deadpool clone who constantly broke the fourth wall in a comedic way, alongside giving him a whole team of superheroes he fought with, and a host of gadgets, because, you know, toys and money, I guess, that's what Disney likes, isn't it? With that being said, there were of course fans who were disappointed to hear that Josh Keaton would not be the voice of Spider-Man in Earth's Mightiest Heroes. However, their disappointed couldn't be too founded, since the news of Josh being the voice of Spider-Man in the show was only a rumour, right? Well, that's where you'd be wrong, as the same day the episode aired in Australia, a fan page on Facebook called Keep the Spectacular Spider-Man Alive posted a screenshot of the credits of the episode, confirming that Drake Bell was indeed the voice of Spider-Man in the episode. Soon after it was posted, Josh Keaton found the post on Facebook and left a comment stating, "Wow, so they redubbed my audio. I recorded a few Avengers episodes of Spider-Man and was looking forward to seeing them. Typical Parker luck, I guess," confirming that he in fact did record lines as Spider-Man, not only for this episode, but for the other multiple episodes in the series where Spider-Man appears. After this was revealed by Keaton, many fans were annoyed that his voice had been replaced with Drake Bell's, leading a lot of them to take to social media to voice this annoyance, sending hate towards Bell's performance as Spider-Man and Bell as a voice actor in general. Due to this, Josh Keaton made a post on Tumblr addressing the recast and stating that this wasn't the first time this had been done to him, urging fans to not send Drake any hate, as he was just an actor doing his job for a paycheck, just like Josh was. Since he was one of the most beloved actors to ever voice Spider-Man, thanks to his brilliant work in The Spectacular Spider-Man as well as various video games, many fans were baffled at the decision to replace Keaton's performance with Bell's voice, and decided to ask the Chief Creative Officer of Marvel Entertainment at the time, Joe Quesada, why the decision was made to begin with. When asked this, Quesada responded by saying that the reason they chose to use Drake Bell's performance over Josh Keaton's was because they didn't want to confuse children watching Spider-Man on Earth's Mightiest Heroes immediately after Ultimate Spider-Man's debut a few months prior. Since Ultimate Spider-Man and the episode where Spider-Man appeared in Earth's Mightiest Heroes were airing on TV at the same time, alongside each other, Quesada was worried that kids might have been confused as to why Spider-Man suddenly sounded different in each show. While this might seem like a fairly reasonable explanation initially, it kind of falls apart when you realise that some of the characters that appeared in Earth's Mightiest Heroes also made guest appearances on Ultimate Spider-Man, but they didn't share the same voice actors from Earth's Mightiest Heroes. This was even pointed out to Quesada, but he didn't give an explanation as to why a change in voice for other characters, such as Thor or Iron Man, would be any less confusing for the kids watching at the time. If I had to guess why Quesada and Marvel Entertainment as a whole felt that way, it would probably be because they already planned to move in a different direction for their animated shows. With the cancellation of Earth's Mightiest Heroes likely already being in the pipeline when Bell's voiceover was recorded, and with plans for new animated shows like Avengers Assemble and Hulk and the Agents of Smash to exist alongside Ultimate Spider-Man, they probably thought it made more sense for Spider-Man's appearance in Earth's Mightiest Heroes to share a voice with their current Spider-Man show that they had long-term plans for, as opposed to a show that wasn't even owned by them and had already been finished for 3 years at the time of the episode's airing. As many of you have likely come to expect from media of this nature, none of the audio of Josh Keaton's performance as Spider-Man in Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes has leaked online or surfaced in any form. The show's head writer, Christopher Yost, was asked on Twitter in November of 2018 if he could talk to Marvel about releasing a version of the episodes with Josh Keaton's recordings as Spider-Man, but Yost replied, stating that he doesn't even know who's in charge at Marvel, and even if he did, they're a pretty forward-looking group, implying that they wouldn't be likely to release a version of the show with Keaton's performance intact. There are rumours that at least one English-speaking country overseas did air episodes of the show with Josh Keaton as the voice of Spider-Man, as per a post from Marvel Animation Age's forum. However, the person had no evidence to back up their claim, and no recordings of any of these supposed airings have ever surfaced, leading me to believe that this was likely just hearsay and not something that actually happened. It should also be noted that a couple of Keaton's Spectacular Spider-Man co-stars also appeared in Spider-Man's first episode of the show, with Grey Delisle reprising her role as Betty Brant, and actor Darren Norris, who voiced J. Jonah Jameson in the Spectacular Spider-Man, appearing in the episode as a police chief. It has been speculated that Norris also recorded lines as JJ for this episode that, similarly to Josh Keaton's performance, went unused in the final version, instead being replaced by J.K. Simmons, who is renowned for his iconic portrayal of the character in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy, as well as the aforementioned Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon. The likely reason that Delisle's performance remained in place, unlike Keaton and Norris's, is because Betty Brant had yet to appear in Ultimate Spider-Man at the time of the episode's airing, so there was no alternate voice actress to replace her with from that show. While the lack of Keaton's performance in this show definitely didn't detract from Spidey's appearances in it, I do often wonder what the episodes would have been like with him voicing the character instead. His take on the character in The Spectacular Spider-Man, as well as the various other video games and projects he has voiced him in, has always been one of my personal favourites, and I feel that version of Spider-Man would feel right at home in this show that has some of the most well-rounded and accurate versions of Marvel's beloved cast of characters. And while it sucks we didn't get to see Josh Keaton return to the role of Spider-Man in this show, we did eventually see him come back to voice the version of the character so many people grew to love him for, once again, with the Spectacular Spider-Man's appearance in 2023's Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, a role I'm hopeful will see him reprise in the film's sequel Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, whenever Sony decides they want to stop messing around and give us that. As for his appearance in Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes though, it is likely that we will never hear what Josh Keaton's interpretation of Spider-Man in these episodes would have been, as Disney hasn't acknowledged the series much since its cancellation, and based on what Christopher Yost said, they have no plans to do so in the future. Provided they weren't completely wiped after the decision to use Drake Bell's voice was made, the only way I could see these recordings ever being found is if someone at Disney decided to randomly leak them for one reason or another, or if any of the show's crew happened to have the recordings on hand that they could release. In the event that this doesn't happen, however, we'll most likely just have to live in wonder as to what Josh Keaton could have done to make this already awesome series even better, as the hunt for the lost Spider-Man audio from one of Marvel's best animated series continues.